All right, let's talk about one of the most destructive digital threats out there right now, ransomware. We're going to break down how something that starts as a pretty simple digital shakedown can just cascade into this massive crisis, not just for one person, but for huge companies and even for all of us. Let's dive in.
So let me ask you a question. What kind of threat is so powerful that it can bring our most essential services to a dead stop? I'm talking about something that can cut off the fuel supply for an entire coast, force doctors to cancel critical surgeries, and just completely paralyze a major city.
The answer is, it's almost terrifyingly simple. All of that chaos, it can be unleashed with just one wrong click. That is the reality of the threat we're talking about today.
So what is this thing exactly? Well, the official term is ransomware, and what it does is pretty straightforward. It's a type of malicious software that gets on your computer and just locks everything. It encrypts all your files, making them totally useless until you pay up.
At its core, the attack is really this brutal 1-2 punch. First, there's the encryption. Bam, your data is completely scrambled. Then, right after, comes the extortion, a demand for money, almost always in cryptocurrency so it's hard to trace, in exchange for the key to get your life back. It's this simple combo that starts the huge chain reaction we're about to get into.
Okay, first up, the personal price. To really get a feel for the damage, we've got to start small. We have to start at the level where it's most painful. What happens when it's your computer, when it's your files on the line?
For a person, the cost is it's deeply emotional. I mean, think about it. We're talking about losing things you can never, ever replace. Years of family photos and videos, important documents like your will or your passport scans, maybe a lifetime of creative work, all of it just gone in a flash if you don't have backups.
But here's the thing. The threat has gotten so much worse. It's evolved. It used to be that the bad guys would just lock your files up and wait. Not anymore. Now it's something way more sinister. This is what the experts call double extortion. It's an absolutely devastating pincer movement. So first, before you even know they're there, they quietly copy and steal all of your most sensitive data. Then, once they have it, they encrypt your original files. So now they've got you from two sides. They can demand money for the key to unlock your stuff, and they can threaten to just leak all your private information to the entire world if you don't pay.
All right, next section, the business breakdown. So if the price for a person is high, the cost to a business can be absolutely catastrophic. We're now moving from an IT headache to a threat that can literally put a company out of business.
And here's something you might not realize. The ransom itself, that's often not even the biggest cost. The real damage comes from the downtime. I mean, think about it. Employees can't work, customers can't buy anything, production lines grind to a halt. Every single minute the business is down, money is just pouring out the door.
To give you a sense of the scale here, just look at this number, $11 million. That's what JBS Foods, the biggest meat processor in the world, paid in 2021 just to get their systems turned back on and stop a massive disruption to the food supply.
But remember, $11 million is just the ransom. Now look at this. In 2023, MGM Resorts got hit. They chose not to pay the ransom, but the total cost of that attack, from lost business, recovery efforts, the whole shebang, was estimated at over $100 million. That shows you right there where the real financial pain is. It's just the tip of the iceberg.
Yeah, so you can see here, the actual ransom payment is often just one small slice of the pie. The true cost is this whole nightmare of lost revenue, massive bills for recovery and cleanup, and sometimes even millions of dollars in fines if customer data was exposed.
And that brings us to our final zoom out, society under siege. Because this threat, it doesn't just stop at the company's door. It keeps cascading outward, and it transforms from a financial problem into a genuine public safety crisis. This is honestly the most frightening stage of all. This is where the consequences spill over the corporate firewall and start to directly mess with our daily lives, with our safety, and with the essential services that we all count on.
And look, this isn't some sci-fi scenario. These are real things that happened. You probably remember hearing about them. The Colonial Pipeline attack? It caused gas shortages all up and down the East Coast. The Change Healthcare attack created total chaos for people trying to get their prescriptions. Cities like Dallas have had their public services completely crippled. This is happening right now in every single sector you can imagine.
But nothing drives home the human cost more than this. Attacks on hospitals are becoming terrifyingly common. They force emergency rooms to literally turn away ambulances. They delay life-or-death surgeries, and they cut doctors off from critical patient records. We're not talking about data or money anymore. This is a direct threat to human life.
So, all of this brings us to our final section, the ransom dilemma. This is the big question that every single victim has to face, and the answer, as you're about to see, is a kind of trap.
I mean, it seems like the obvious choice, right? With companies about to go under and lives literally on the line, the question is, why not just pay the criminals and make the whole nightmare go away?
Well, because paying is actually incredibly dangerous. First off, you have zero guarantee you'll even get your data back, or that the key they give you will work. Second, you're basically painting a giant target on your back that says, this person pays, inviting them to hit you again. Third, you're directly funding these huge criminal organizations, helping them get bigger and more powerful. And finally, and this is the most important part, every single ransom that gets paid proves that this business model works, and that encourages thousands more attacks on everybody else.
So here's the bottom line. The key takeaway from all of this. Paying the ransom doesn't solve the problem. It's the gasoline that keeps the entire global ransomware engine running. It just makes the problem worse for every single one of us. When you really boil it down, ransomware is a fight over control. Control of our data, control of our businesses, and control of the infrastructure we depend on to live. So the real question we're left with isn't if another critical part of our society will be targeted, but when. What's next?